Haley's a little feeling sick today. So she was supposed to teach class tonight, and her and I both forgot. So Haley's going to teach next week, and I'm going to observe her teach. So that'll be fun. And then she's going to teach on her own 2 weeks from now. So yay. All right, lesson 10, context and stories. I'm really excited about this because this is going to be a really good personal development class for all of you, where you can identify your own context and stories, and we all have them, whether you want to admit it or not. And it's going to be really good to start to get clear on them, so that way we're not bringing them into our client calls and influencing our clients' decisions with our own hidden context and stories. So today might be very enlightening for some of you. Let's do some housekeeping. Let me pull up my notes here. Oh, I need to switch my view to the Brady Bunch view. Okay. Okay, if you all would like to submit your quote of the week, that would be fabulous. You can do that in the chat box. Thank you very much. Remember, the shorter, the better. And then while you're doing that, just a reminder for everyone that we want you to get your stuff in by June 21st. So write this down. Your case study and your partner calls needs to be recorded and logged in your folders. So we need those two things. And Colleen, I know, oh no, you're fine. I think you rescheduled that last partner call. But so all your partner calls done and recorded in your log, in your folder, and then your case study done and submitted by June 21st. So that way I can grade it afterwards. So if everyone can just let me know in the chat box, what date do I need those things done by? June 21st, okay, yep. Thank you, Stephanie, Kaylina, Sarah, yep. Perfect, excellent. Oh, and then all your lessons as well. So 3 things. Yep, definitely. All right, awesome, guys. Thanks for paying attention and taking notes.
Hey, Krista.
Yeah.
A question on the number of mentor calls with Kelly. Is it 4 for your class? Because on Shannon's call last week, she mentioned 5 mentor classes for semester 1, but I know there was a little bit of a different structure for your class.
Yeah, it's only 3. So you're only doing three mentor calls with Kelly. And then you stop scheduling after that, because we're hoping that I'll have my PCC by then, and then you guys can do the rest of your calls with me.
Okay, perfect. Thanks for clarifying that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. All right, what other housekeeping?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry, my volume is super low and I can't figure out how to turn it up. But my last call, or my third call, is scheduled for the 27th. So do I need to move that up to have it in before the 21st?
This is one of your partner coaching calls?
No, this is my third call with Kelly, my mentor.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. You can still keep that. Yeah, okay. I was just talking about your partner calls, having those all be done by June 21st.
Okay.
Yeah, just because I have to do grading and stuff, but I don't have to grade anything with your mentor calls. Okay. You're good. Okay. Oh, I wanted to show you guys something cool. Shannon was talking about this. I think I'll show you on Facebook, but adding education to your Facebook tab. Here, I'll show you guys what I mean. It's a really good way to tell people what you're up to and you could find clients from it, or you could find people, if you're an affiliate, you could find people who want to join IGC. But you would do it over here. Let's see, hold on a second. There we go. Okay, so you can put studied life coach at Inner Glow Circle under your education. So really easy to do, but we recommend that you do that. Tell people what you're up to. Why not? So you can put that on your to-do list. So add that you're studying life coach at Inner Glow Circle under education on Facebook. Okay. And then our next housekeeping is, so you all are doing an amazing job of sharing like wins and in the Facebook groups, and I want to encourage you guys to keep doing it. So any like wins that you have, any breakthroughs, any aha moments, keep sharing that either in the spring Facebook group or the mastermind group or the free IGC Facebook group, and tag Shannon. And we're going to start using these stories as our marketing for the fall launch. And these are really we're reading this book right now that's called How to Build a Story Brand by Donald Miller. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. And so we're really finding out that stories like this is what is going to bring people in. So you can do this with your own businesses as well, using your client stories and success and testimonial and really focusing on that for your marketing. So yeah, just want to encourage you all to keep sharing, and then tag Shannon and she'll use this as marketing material. And then let's quickly talk about our book that we're reading right now. So we're reading The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. And I'd just love to do a quick discussion to see what you all are thinking about the book so far. I just want to personally share, I feel like everybody has an upper limit problem now. And every time everyone talks, I'm like, oh, it's an upper limit. Oh, it's an upper limit problem. It's like so bad now. I'm like, I can't stop. Is anybody, I'm just curious if anybody else is doing this. Yeah. So if I'm doing your coaching calls and I'm like, sounds like an upper limit problem, it's probably going to come out at some time. But no, I'd love to hear from you all. What are you thinking of the book so far? You love it, hate it, bored?
I didn't get the book, so I haven't been reading it.
Okay,
True confessions, no.
Oh, no worries. Do you want to read it?
Yeah, I do. I'm probably going to get it. I'm just, I listened to that Oprah book and I'm reading another book right now. And I feel like I have several books that I need to get to. So I didn't want to keep buying books and like just stacking them up, but I'm definitely going to read it.
Definitely. Okay, no problem. I remember this is just for fun. So this is not part of your career. I feel bad because someone texted me the other day and they're like, I didn't know we were supposed to read this book for class and I'm so behind. I'm like, no, it's not for class. It's just for fun. Yeah.
I just listened to some of it this weekend and I was like, and you can just see it, like all of your upper limits. You're like, I need to break through that from like past things anyways. So I'm enjoying it.
Good. I'm curious, are you finding any or discovering any upper limit stuff for yourself right now going on?
One of the things that I do is I sabotage myself because I'm just like, don't think I'm good enough, but that's not true. Or there's plenty of people in the sea that do it better than me, so why should I even try?
Oh yeah. So that's
really battling with those two, and like those, I know they're lies, but like pushing through that is a whole nother story.
Yeah. I was thinking of making a YouTube training on that, of talking about comparitis when you're a new life coach, because you feel like you start to like attract all these people into your life that are also coaches. And then you wake up every day going through your news feed and you're like, oh, wow, this coach is making all this money. And this coach has a full roster of clients. And this coach is doing this. And then it's just like, oh, it could be so damaging. And yeah, then you get into the story of like, why am I even bothering? There's so many coaches out there. Like, they don't need, the world doesn't need my coaching. The world doesn't need my book, or the world doesn't need my course. And it's a really deep, dark hole to go down.
I totally just experienced that yesterday. I'm having really good coaching sessions with Mona. And so I came up with like a little mini mastermind group that I wanted to do. And I came up with just the outline and what I want to talk about. And I literally recorded myself on video. I must have hit record at least like 25 times. And I'm like, oh no, I look like crap. I sound stupid. I said, I can't post this video. I need to do my hair and makeup. And I didn't post it. And then I was like all bummed at myself yesterday.
Yeah.
I was like, everybody else looks so good and happy. Why do I look so awful? Yeah, totally that yesterday.
Rule number 1, don't watch the video. Just post it and let it be.
I know. I was like totally critiquing myself and comparing myself. It was horrible.
Your quirks that you were mentioning, that's what makes you real. That what makes you a real person. So people don't want perfection.
Right.
I know.
Yeah.
So maybe you guys will see it posted sometime this week.
Do it.
Love that. Something that was a game changer for me too was the Life Coach School podcast by Brooke Castillo. She put, oh, Michelle, you like that one? Yeah. She did an episode that was called like B- work still changes lives. And it was so powerful because like a lot of us are perfectionists here, and we're like, oh, if it's not perfect, I'm not doing it. I'm not putting it out into the world. It's not going to help anyone. And Brooke was basically saying like, even if your work is really like messy and crappy, which most of the time it usually is when we're first starting out, she's like, this can still change people's lives. And for me, it was like, oh my gosh, like why would we not be putting material out that can change people's lives, or even if it changes one person's life. So I always have that in the back of my head now, especially as I'm creating my digital course right now, and it feels very messy and overwhelming. And I'm like, okay, even if this is a terrible course, as long as it changed one person's life, I did my job right. So I'll find that episode and I'll post it to the group, and maybe that'll help Colleen.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I know we don't have to decide this right now, but maybe some of you saw my poll in the group. Are you all interested in I've really been wanting to read Brene Brown's book, Dare to Lead. I've heard it's really, really good. And I was thinking maybe we could read that for our next book. Is that cool? Okay. Has anyone here read it yet? No? Okay.
I've read like 3/4 of it.
Okay. What do you think of it?
I really liked it. It was a little, I don't know. I guess it's helpful. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm reading that one. That's another one that I'm a few chapters in. But I mean, so far I like it. It is, I don't know, Sarah, maybe like a little researchy kind of, and I know that's probably not a word, but is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I just really love Brene.
Yeah.
Because of her like perspective on things and her like more deeper rooted, I guess, being stance on all this stuff. This is definitely more like technical doing leadership type conversations or tips.
Yeah.
But it's good. I mean, definitely worth a read, you know?
There's one thing that it's in the first few chapters about being clear is kind, being unclear is unkind. And I love that. I just think that just speaks volumes to like being honest and being upfront about what your needs are or what your intentions are.
Okay. Cool. Sounds good. right, thanks for sharing that. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the lesson today. So I'm going to read the outcomes for you and the core competencies and the additional resources, and then we'll get into training request. So the learning outcomes for today are: define and describe various contexts and the importance of recognizing them within a coaching conversation. Demonstrate ability to create awareness of context with clients. And able to design actions that promote clients' continued self-discovery and that allow him or her to practice their learnings in real-world situations. Our core competencies taught are C5, active listening, C6, direct communication, and D8, creating awareness. And then the resource tonight is actually a glow book exercise, and it's called Change Your Story. Has anyone here done the exercise yet? Change your story? No?
I couldn't find it. I know someone says it every week, but I'm so sorry. I looked in every month and I couldn't find it. Did anybody else find it?
No, I couldn't find it either. There was even a link in the lesson, and the link just brought you to the portal, and
Yes.
it's just, I couldn't find it either. And I was like, oh, I can do this. And I looked.
I know.
I do this too.
Same. I was like, I'm gonna find it. And
Yeah. So it's on our radar. We will do it.
Okay. I'll put note in here. It's probably when they updated the portal, maybe something didn't get updated. I'm going to make a note here. Link not working for Glowbook. Well, that's a bummer. Sorry about that, guys. I can see how frustrated you are and that you really want to do this exercise. All right. What do you want to walk away with from class tonight? Or what's your request? I wish we had some Jeopardy background music right now.
I know. I can come up with something. I think that, I've been working a lot on non-judgment, like just actively listening, not just within this program, but before that, about in life, of not judging people or expecting that they're going to say or do a certain thing. So I guess just, I don't know, I guess just being able to recognize when I'm doing that early, like as soon as I'm doing that, because sometimes I'll like realize I'm like judging or expecting a certain outcome or response, and it's kind of too, like I'm already in it, you know. I'd like to kind of be able to see that sooner and like get rid of it sooner.
So tonight you want to be able to learn how to recognize when you might be showing up and judging someone if they have a story that you're identifying in a coaching session?
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Okay. I think we can all benefit from that. And I think if any of us said, oh, I've never judged anyone in my coaching sessions before, I think that's a lie. I've done it before. It's not that we're trying to, but it's like, yeah, it just happens. And yeah, so it's good to recognize it. Okay, Haley needs prayer because sinuses have her feeling crazy. We are going to send so many prayers and healing to you tonight. So thank you, Haley, for asking for that. And Kay, oh my gosh, my editor is blowing me up on Basecamp. Kaylina, so how to break out of the context stories we are in to better serve our clients. Can you tell me more about that?
Or she would ask me to tell you more.
Yes.
I don't know. I was just like kind of thinking about my sessions with Mona and like how I've been resistant to like goals and goal setting. And so when I haven't like I haven't had a call in a while either since we had the last class, but I haven't like really pushed her in that because I'm just like, well, they're your goals. If you don't want to do them, that's on you, which is my job. So like just breaking out of that like that story that I'm in so that I can serve them better, because that's the goal, is to serve them. So realizing what stories you're in and how to break out of them.
So is
I think,
is it
go
a
ahead.
personal story that you're noticing for yourself or that you're noticing for your partner coach?
I think it's a combination. Like I'm in that space, and so even though I see her doing it, I'm like, whatever, instead of like breaking out of the story that I tell myself and helping her through it. Does that make sense?
So you're seeing you're seeing a story that you have show up in your client.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So then so once you identify that, what is it that you need help with? Like, what do you need from us today?
How to like I kind of like what Colleen said, like how to clear that energy and bring better energy to the space, like before the session, so that I don't do that again.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is a really great request, and this is something we're going to talk about today anyway. So I'm really happy you brought that up, because this will happen. It's going to happen to all of us. We all have stories, and our clients are mirrors for us. And so we'll see clients bring stuff to us and we're like, oh gosh, I'm dealing with that too. You're like, don't ask me that. Don't bring me that right now. I'm struggling with that myself.
I literally said that to Mona at one point. Like, I'm talking to Michelle about that later, so hopefully I can help you. She just laughed at me. It was good.
Yeah. Yes, that's a really great one. And then, okay, so Colleen, you said have ideas on clearing energetic space. Cool. Can you tell me just a little bit more about that, Colleen?
I think just maybe information or examples on how to, hit the reset button. So either, and not even necessarily, even if I have another client coming up, but just, I guess, to clear it for myself too, to get myself reset and kind of finish out that coaching session.
Okay, finish out the coaching session. So do you want help with clearing the energetic space before the coaching session, during, or after?
Before and after. So like be able to go into it, with a clear mind and a focus, and then also be able to release that, because from communicating with people, I'm getting the little bit of partner coaching we've done. I'm guessing I'm probably going to absorb some of that energy or their context. And so I'd like to come in clean and then go out and kind of filter that out too, so I can get back to my context.
Yeah.
Just get back to normal, I guess. And I think we've kind of talked about it, like after the session, sometimes it feels like almost not draining in a negative way, but it sits heavy,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no, this is really important for us to do. So I love this request, especially if you identify as like being an empath and you don't want to like start taking all your client stuff on as your own. And so, yeah, this is really important. Okay. Amy said, how to not react from our own context when we get triggered other than raising our level of awareness. Okay, Amy, tell me more about that.
So in my group, in the Sober Challenge thing that I'm running, I put up a post about like
how you can switch what you reach to drink for. So like have some kombucha or have some sparkling water. And then one of the people that I know, she had already kind of given me a little bit of grief, like prior, when she's like, tell me more about the group. And I kind of repeated exactly what the post was, like not paying attention. She's like, oh, this just sounds like a sales pitch now. And I was like, oh, okay. But then under the kombucha thing, she's like, I find this really funny. This is fermented, like, basically. I was like, no, it isn't. And then I just felt like I got triggered because I was feeling insecure at that time about like my ability to run this group. So, and then I was just kind of like, if I just respond right now, like it's not going to go well probably. So how do I, other than raising my level of awareness, which I think is the answer. How do you figure out like maybe where your context is, or ask yourself that?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, I'm putting the kombucha example. This girl sounds like she's a piece of work.
It's interesting to say the least.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think it's really badass that you did that challenge. And like I wrote in the group, like I feel like everybody's talking about, everybody's like doing Amy's challenge right now. Like, this is so cool. So you're doing a great job for you. Or I just want to acknowledge you. Okay, awesome. Got some really good requests tonight. All right. I just want to, let's see, I think we already went over the key concepts. Oh, okay, no. So before we start going into the requests, I actually want you all to pull up the lesson. And I want you to look at the different stories that are there. And I want you to tell me in the chat box, which stories do you feel like you have right now in your life? Or which stories are showing up for you? It'd be really interesting to see what we're all going with. And then I'll have a few of you come on camera and tell me more about how these stories are presenting.
When you say stories, Krista, you mean like the all or nothing, the if then? Okay.
Yep. So go through that list and then pick like the top one that you feel like is showing up in your life right now. I'm going to grab my allergy medicine. Speaking of sinuses, Haley, I'm getting a headache right now, so maybe I need some allergy love too, or sinus love. Overwhelm. Oh yeah, that's my biggest one, is overwhelm. Apple cider vinegar. What story is that? I'm just kidding. It's amazing for sinuses. I told you, Haley, that was amazing for heartburn while you were pregnant. But yeah, apple cider vinegar, I think, cures everything. Oh, good. I'm glad that worked. Okay, overwhelm. We have a lot of people who are in the overwhelm story. I see some of you are thinking overwhelm. Oh, and Sarah also has and if then. Okay. Overwhelm, unreachable bar, and scarcity. So on the last one. All right. If then story, right or wrong. Okay. Oh, Michelle, that will go into your request for tonight, the judgment one. Overwhelm is unreachable bar, overwhelm. Okay, so this is interesting. A lot of us are dealing with this overwhelm story right now, me included. That's like been the story of my life. Okay, who wants to talk about their story a little bit more?
Mine's pretty basic. With the if then, I I feel like I set really good goals and attainable goals in my mind, but then I don't do them because I get stuck. Like, okay, so if I get the contract created, then I can start looking for clients. Or if I get my notebook together, then I'll be organized. If I do this and then I feel like for some reason, I think it might be a combination of the fact that I work a regular full-time job and then just the whole like afraid to take the jump for some reason. And I don't know why, because logically I know I'm fully capable, but there's something going on, like some type of self-sabotage with the if then going on.
Yeah. I think it's a way of like protecting yourself to keep yourself safe from going out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, it could be.
How do you think
over push me down, push me off the cliff then?
How do you think this story could impact your clients, Colleen?
Well, I think the biggest way is either I'm gonna come across not fully prepared and fully confident. And I think if I come across not fully confident, they're not gonna, because I know when I deal with people at work, if they don't come across to me as confident, I'm like, do they really know the answer? Can they really help me? Because they don't really sound like they know what they're doing. So why would I trust them?
Yeah. Okay, so this could help you to understand this story. It could help you with your confidence level, so you show up confident and prepared for your clients.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for listening.
Who else wants to share their context and stories with the group? It's like group therapy.
I can
can
share.
So,
Who else said that?
me. You can go.
Like either way.
I'll eat the apple. You go.
Okay. Michelle and I have actually hashed this out a lot, but I tend to like just put too much in my life, and so like we've been focusing a lot on balance because of it. Because I don't necessarily know if this is an excuse or not, but I feel like as a mom, you have all of your mom duties, whether you want them or not. And then you have your personal like life goals and things that you want for yourself, and there's like this juggling act. So it ebbs and flows, but I'm in a season of me right now, which feels good.
Yeah. I could see
there's
that.
Still a lot on my plate either way.
Do you think, does that present as like an either or story as well? Like I can either do stuff for my kids or I can do stuff for myself, but I can't do both?
Totally. That's why I said I could see all of it, really. All of that. I use all of those stories.
So how could this impact your clients?
Well, I think that's why I was asking about it, because I was like, oh yeah, I totally let Mona just like, she makes some goals and she's like, oh, but I don't feel like doing that anymore, and that feels good, so I'm not going to. And I'm like, okay. Instead of being like, well, why not? You made it a goal and now you're changing your mind a week later.
So it sounds like you're saying it could be hard to really challenge your clients and stand for them.
Yeah.
Because if you're going through something, you're like, oh, well, I'm going through it, so I'll just let them go through it too.
Or like I feel like I'm telling myself I'm being compassionate because I get it. Versus the reality is I'm not standing for them.
Definitely. I think you can do both though. I think you can be like, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I get it. Now, how can we change this? Because I think it's when people are opening up to you on a coaching call, they're being really vulnerable. And I always think it's really important to like show up from this place of love, and most people need to be acknowledged, seen, and heard. So doing that part first and then opening it up into like, okay, well, yeah, do you want to work through this? Do you want to talk about this today? Or standing for them in that way. Yeah. Cool. Okay, I'd love to hear from one other person. What story is showing up in your life?
For me, it's overwhelm. Like, I think I've filled my life with a lot of, I don't know, fluff, I'm calling it. Like, I've joined all these groups on Facebook, and there's so many notifications that come up now, and I keep like just procrastinating on stuff that I actually need to do. But I think it's because I don't want to actually sit with myself and be alone. Because like my ex and I are kind of like done now, so there's no one like kind of to text, and I'm like having to sit with myself. And so to avoid that, it's really easy to just add stuff, but the other important stuff doesn't get done, like making the contracts and that, and I keep like getting overwhelmed and putting it off.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna whittle it down this week and back to the basics for this week.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Really powerful. So then how could this impact your clients, Amy?
Because I'm not showing up as myself, because I don't even know who I am sitting alone with myself. So if I'm going to be like scattered and disorganized, then that's exactly how I'm going to show up on the call.
Wow. That's a pretty interesting breakthrough, or whatever you want to call it, but insight. Yeah, definitely. I'd love to, actually, I want to hear from a couple more people. Stephanie, how about you?
I put overwhelm, which I am definitely in the overwhelm, but I'm also in all or nothing for sure. And mine is, I don't know if it's all or nothing or if then, but like when Kaylina was explaining, but for me, it's like, it either all has to be, well, I'm like perfectionist complex that I'm working through. So mine's like, it all has to be perfect, or like, don't even go for it yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really interesting. I just read Gifts of Imperfection by Brene, and that was huge for me. This one part about like you can literally get life paralysis because you just get frozen into place because you don't even go for a dream, a goal, whatever, because you think all your ducks have to be in a row before you go for it, and then you ultimately never even go for it. And I'm like, just all these memories of just things wwhere I've wanted to go just in my life. So, I mean, anyway, I'm having a lot of breakthroughs, but it's certainly showing up like, I don't know, I guess I just talk myself out of some things, about have ideas and maybe just don't move forward with it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, it's a really common thing for a lot of people to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then how could this impact your clients?
I mean, I could definitely see, honestly, what's really scary is if I wouldn't have realized this story, I could have like not on purpose, but like encouraged, like, okay, well, how can we get everything ready so that you can then So for me, I'm glad that I've realized it, because now I can push them like, hey, it doesn't have to be perfect. Let's just go for it. Let's be messy. That's what's beautiful, encourage that. But had I really not had this realization, that's kind of scary, that I could have really encouraged someone to, anyway. So.
I'm really glad you brought that up. Yeah, I mean, it can kind of be like damaging if we don't know our own stuff. And then, like you said, if someone's coming to you with a request of like, oh, I don't think I'm going to do X, Y, and Z because it's not perfect. And if you were coming from the lens of your own story, then you could say, okay, yeah, let's push it out because it's not perfect yet. And it's like, we don't want to do that. So that's really, I'm happy that like you're having that breakthrough.
Mm-hmm. It's been cool, yeah, because now it's like, it honestly just really opens up a lot of possibilities, because you're like, wait, it just like the pressure just comes way far down, and so it's exciting to just go for it instead of like having to wait. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was thinking of a story that I had for the longest time was when I was a new coach, and then I was helping other coaches try to find like clients, and I was still trying to find clients in my business. And the story I had in my head was it's hard to find paying clients. And so then when people would come to me with that request, I would be like, oh yeah, you're right. It is hard to find clients. And I couldn't stand for them in that way. And yeah, Kayla, a lot of us tell us this sells, and it's not hard to find. If we always see that lens, it's hard to find clients, it'll always be hard to find clients. But if we tell ourselves, no, it's easy to find clients, it's easy to attract my soulmate clients, then it'll be a lot easier to find clients. So these stories can really fuck with us. Yeah, but that was my story for the longest time, and that was really impacting the way I used to coach people. Cool. Mary, I'd love to hear from you. I feel like you have a good one.
It's funny because I feel like I've made a lot of good progress in the area of scarcity, right? Come a long way with money, recognizing that my family stories aren't my stories. But it's like the better it goes, the more challenges come up, the more this mentality gets tested, and so today I've noticed how many times I've said something along the lines of I'm broke, or things that I put out there that aren't necessarily true. It's just it's weird. I feel like I'm having a physical response of stress, even though mentally I'm telling myself that this isn't an issue and that I'm good and I'm so fortunate to be abundant and that things that I want keep happening, right? Even if I can't see where it's coming from, the money specifically or anything, right? The time, the energy, it all happens. And I feel really abundant most of the time. But then something about today, money's just been coming up a lot, conversation with other people too. And it kind of pulls me into this place where I feel stressed again. And I'm physically, I can almost feel my heart race, but mentally I feel like I'm overcoming so much. I just can't seem to get the two to align. It's I can't force my body to not be stressed, so I'm trying different things. It's the awareness is great, right? I know that there's something here to work on. It's just, I guess I almost got a little complacent, oh, I've been making all these great breakthroughs, and then it's time to put them into action. Yeah, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Scarcity for sure, and overwhelm. But I would say also the I think maybe the all or nothing. I did start thinking ahead of how can I be a coach on the road with my daughter if it's just the two of us? I can't take care of her and do this, so I'm gonna have to figure something out. So there was a little bit of shooting myself in the foot way too ahead of time. I've always figured stuff out as it comes, and it's always been really good, and it's never something that I could have pictured ahead of time. Mm-hmm. But there is quite a few of these stories that are creeping in, especially the mom, if I can't be a mom and a coach at the same time or something.
Yeah, that's a powerful one. I'm curious too, with your own money stories, how could that impact the way that you coach clients?
It's really on multiple levels. I feel this impacts my confidence, my insecurities, right? All kind of flare up around money. And I think that just how you show up but I also think it has made me question what I'm worth, right? What my time is worth and what I should be putting things out there for. Should it just always be free, because that's what I want to do. But it's the money stories that I'm working through directly relate to how I feel about my services and what I should charge. So, because whatever wave I'm on changes how I feel about that too. And I think that affects how you show up, so confidence wise. And yeah, so I think it really does. I mean, maybe not so. I think also as a coach, you might have a harder time standing for somebody when they're having money problems themselves, you might be oh, I feel you, right? Instead of there is no money problem. Let's think abundance, Yeah.
Yeah, especially if any of us have money stories here, which probably 99% of us do, it's going to show up on a sales call big time, because the number one objection people usually have when hiring a coach is they always use the money first, even though it's never about the money. And we'll go through this in semester 2. But so if someone's having a money objection and you have your own money stories and objections going on, then you won't stand for the person, because you're like, oh yeah, you're right. It's just about the money. They don't have enough money, or they can't afford to work with me. And so that's why, yeah, it's really good to get clear on our own stuff first. That way we can really powerfully stand for people when they present this stuff to us. Yeah, thanks for adding all that. And so I want to share something with you all, and then we'll get to the request. I took notes down from the lessons, but I feel like you guys should write this down too, is when you do notice your clients having stories come up, there's a couple different ways you can respond to it. And one of them was, hey, I'm hearing a pattern here. Are you open to a reflection? So that's really good. This is a good way to be direct, because you have to be direct. So it's, hey, I'm hearing a pattern here. Are you open to a reflection? And then the other one is, where else is this belief showing up? How is this belief stopping you? So repeat that again. Where else is this belief showing up? How is this belief stopping you? Those are technically 3 questions that you can use. So I want to challenge everyone that if you see a story coming up when you're doing your partner coaching calls this week, you can use one of those questions and coach them through it. I even took notes for myself. I'm like, oh, I'm going to use this for my clients. All right, let's get into our request. So Michelle, you are up first. So Michelle, your request tonight was around judgment, so not judging your clients. So how do you recognize when you're judging people and kind of what to do about it? Has anything come up for you since you requested that?
Yes, it has. Sorry, you kind of cut in and out. I don't know if that's my connection or yours. It's probably mine. Can you guys hear me? Yeah? Okay. Yeah, just looking at these really helped me. I made the realization, like I said earlier, a while back, that I was doing that. Had a lot of stuff in my past, just the way that I was raised, of like, it's something should be done this way and that's the only way, and it doesn't matter what you think. And so that's kind of how my brain was wired, like how Amy said in the comments. Thinking patterns are a new habit. So I've created the new habit to not do that. It still pops up sometimes, but this really helped, like kind of just see it in writing, the right or wrong context that labels things as right or wrong, often disregarding any gray area. But just seeing that in writing was really helpful because I don't know, that way I'm just more aware of it. And as long as I can kind of and where they want to go.
Hi.
Oh, was I frozen that whole time?
No, I think you were good.
Oh.
I think it was mine. I got dropped. But what I heard you say is that it makes sense, because if you're identifying with like the right or wrong context, that can also be perceived as judgment. And so you said that you're basically like rewiring your brain. And what else did you say?
I said a lot. I was kind of on a tangent, but just that as long as I make sure before call that I can just like take some breaths and meditate in. I've been noticing that as long as I ask specifically to show up just for that client and to like meet them where they're at and kind of give them the space that they need, that doesn't happen as much. So I think the more I do that, the less it'll happen.
Yeah, I love that plan. That's really good.
Yeah, it's helpful.
Yeah, a couple things. Have you read Judgment Detox by Gabby Bernstein?
No, I have not.
That book is powerful for if you feel like judgment is like a repeating pattern in your life. Oh, really good. So that's a recommendation. And then what is it? So Michelle, what does that mean for you when you find yourself judging others? Like, what's really going on personally for yourself?
Well, I think in this, that was the other thing that I said when you're frozen. I think in this context, it's more, I've got like high standards for myself. And so I feel like everyone else should have high standards relating to whatever their goals may be, their goals may be. So it's not judgment in the sense of like someone, like what I said earlier was someone may have weird hair or something like that. It's not that kind of judgment. It's more like goal oriented or career oriented, like judgment like that. But so yeah, I probably either feel insecure about whether or not I'm reaching my own goals, or maybe I'm setting too high of goals. Maybe I need to set like some smaller ones for myself, and maybe that would help. Yeah. Yeah.
So you totally touched on it. Is anytime we find that we're judging someone else, it's actually we're judging ourselves at the end of the day, and it's an area of our own life where we feel insecure about something, and so it's kind of like a way of projecting our own things onto someone else. So that's really good to notice that, because then you get to like you said, after a call, you can be like, whoa, what just happened? And then, whether with your own coach or whoever, you can like work through that and to see where is that judgment showing up in your own life.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting, and that's really a powerful thing to think about.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I really like that request. So do you feel good now with being able to recognize it when it happens in the future?
Yeah, for sure.
Perfect. That's a huge reason that I got this tattoo. Choose love.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it helps to remind me of like, yeah, because I do that a lot of times too, Michelle. I have really high standards for myself. And then when I don't see other people like doing the things, I'll start judging as well. And so I look at that tattoo and I'm like, okay, because what Gabby says is judgment is a separation from love. That's all it is.
Yeah,
so
that's so interesting. I just wrote like a little affirmation, and I'm always in the kitchen cooking or doing dishes, and I have it like where I see it all the time. And it says, I choose to learn through love, I think is what it says. Because, and ever since I did that, it's become a lot easier to do that, because it's true, and it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to like think or even have a conversation around a judgment, So yeah, that's funny that you've got the same thing. I'll read that book. Who's the author?
Gabby Bernstein.
Bernstein, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, let's move on to Kaylina. So what to do when you see your own story show up in a client? Okay. Kaylina, what came up for you around that?
Since we've been chatting?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you gave some really good like reflection questions that I was like, oh, that's good. Like, because I can see the pattern, like I can see it in myself, but I'm like, I don't know what to do with it. So just being able to like point it out to them and be like, where's your question? I typed it somewhere. I'm hearing a pattern. Are you open to a reflection? Like, I think that's going to be a really good line. And then also just taking time to deal with my own stories that I tell myself. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Yeah, for myself, when I'm coaching someone and I notice something comes up and kind of like what Mary's saying, like my body will start having reaction, like my pulse will start quickening, or I'll start getting hot and sweaty or whatever. Like I just take a mental note of it and write it down. Like, okay, I need to talk to my coach about this. And I kind of just try to power through it during the time. And then as soon as I can, try to get help around it myself. But so I think that's just good to like, yeah, kind of like take the silent note of like, okay, I'm going to have to talk to Krista about this or talk to Kelly or, and cause this is my, so, oh, there's a powerful quote that says, if it's not your own stuff, you should be able to easily coach around it. So if you're having difficulty coaching around something, it's because it's your own stuff getting in the way.
Yes. That's good.
Mm-hmm. So like if people bring money objections to you and it really freaking bothers you and triggers you, it's because you've got your own money objections to deal with. So I thought that was kind of like a good way to gauge, okay, is this, what's going on here? Is this my stuff or not? Because yeah, otherwise it shouldn't bother you. It shouldn't affect you. You'd be like, okay, you got money stuff going on. Let's talk about it. But if you're like, oh God, oh, why do we have to talk about this? Then yeah, it's probably a good sign that some more exploring work needs to be done on your end.
Definitely.
Yeah. Do you feel complete around that, or do you still want to talk about some more things?
No, I feel like I know what to do in this situation now. I think that's what I was like, eh. And then, and I think it's a good gauge to be like, oh, okay, this is a great coaching request. Like, because some weeks I'm like, I don't know, which is a terrible answer. So,
yes, I will not let you show up with an I don't know coaching request when I'm your mentor.
I don't like showing up with an I don't know coaching request. It makes me mad.
Yeah, it sounds like you got all kinds of new material now for when stuff comes up in your own coaching call.
Too bad Michelle's listening.
Okay, let's move on to Colleen. So ideas on clearing the energetic space or hitting a reset button before and after a coaching call. So I have two really good ideas for you, Colleen, but I just wanted to see if anything came up for you first.
Well, I was actually thinking, I think Michelle mentioned, did you mention meditation? Somebody mentioned it. Yeah. I was thinking that might be a good one. And I also have, which I just kind of thought about, I have that EMDR music.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought maybe listening to that might help as well. And I think it'll probably depend on like the time frame, either before or after, if I have commitments, if it's just something where I have like maybe 30 minutes in between, it might be a quick meditation or listen to the music, or it could even be just some deep breathing or just going for a little walk or something like that.
Those all sound perfect.
Thank
Definitely.
you.
And I wanted to add to the meditation. Have you ever did we talk about cord cutting meditations?
No.
Okay, I really like those. So if you go into like YouTube and type in cord cutting, so like CORD and then cutting is a separate word, it's really good. And Kelly Curtis has a really good one that I don't know if she shared. Oh no, she shared it with the last group. I'll ask if I can share it with you guys. But it's really good because it basically, we all have these invisible energetic cords with people in our life, like anyone we've had sex with, or like really deep, powerful friendships, or our parents, or just anyone we come into contact with every day. And if we don't clear, Kelly literally does like a cord cutting meditation every night. She'll like do it when she brushes her teeth really quick. And she just imagines like cutting through this cord and just like being released from the person, whether it was like a toxic thing or not, just so that way she like just clears her energy and she can like call her energy back in and wake up with more her own energy in the morning and feeling refreshed and renewed and not feeling like bogged down from everyone that she came in contact with every day. And actually I have a powerful, can I share a personal story that has to deal with this?
Yes.
Okay, this is crazy. Okay. So when I was working with my first life coach back in the day, she recommended that I see a psychic for some business advice. And I thought that was really weird, especially me growing up as a Lutheran. I was like, I'm not going to talk to a psychic. Like psychics work with the devil and all that craziness. And she was like, no, she's really good. She's really good. I think you should meet with her. So I was like, fine, I'll do it. So I did this session with Reese. She's an online psychic in Seattle. And she basically was telling me like in 3 months, something really big is going to happen in your life and in your business. And I thought it was going to be like I was going to get a book deal, or I thought I was going to get like my own TV show or like something really cool. It was none of that. What ended up happening was 3 months later is when I got divorced, and then I got fired in the same week. And that was huge. It's completely changed my life. You know, I am writing a book around it and everything. So that's what she was talking about. She didn't know what it was, but that's what she was talking about. And the night before, actually a couple nights before I got fired from my nursing job, my coach had told me about a cord cutting meditation. I was like, you know what, I'm going to try it because I'm feeling really like just seeing women in the most pain of their life when they're getting ready to have a baby. It was just really traumatizing for me to be experienced to their emotions and pain day after day after day. And then there's so many issues I see with how we take care of pregnant women in the hospitals, and it just wasn't aligning with my core values. And so I was like, okay, I drew a hot bath. I put my phone on the toilet. I found this cord cutting meditation on YouTube. I lit all these candles. I lit incense, and I just closed my eyes in the bath, and I listened to this powerful cord cutting meditation. And I imagined like the hospital in front of me and this big, thick red velvet cord, and then this big pair of scissors cutting the cord. And the hospital was just, where I worked at, was just falling away from me into this big black hole. And then the next morning I woke up, and then I got called into my boss's office, and they were like, we need to talk to you about something. And then I got fired the next day. And then I told my coach about it, and she's like, I was like, I did this cord cutting meditation and I got fired. And she's like, do you realize how powerful you are? And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, you basically asked the universe for help. You asked the universe for healing from your job and to be released from that job when you did that cord cutting meditation. And this is how it showed up for you. And I was like, whoa. And she was like, totally right. Like, so it's not that like, so I just want to clarify, like, if you do a cord cutting meditation with a person or a situation in your life, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to like end, but it just ends the bad parts of the relationship, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have some cut now.
Yeah. So that, I think cord cutting, ever since then, I always tell people about it. So I'm like, if there's a negative situation or person in your life, you go in the bathtub and light some candles and you do that cord cutting meditation.
Krista, when we're done, can you share the information on the psychic that you talked with?
Definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I see a psychic now like every 6 months at least, and I always ask them for business advice. And she told me, she was like, Facebook's going to be your thing. Like Facebook is how you're going to find all your clients. That's how I knew to get started on Facebook. Like it is amazing what psychics can help you with. And you can probably write it off on your taxes.
Oh, I wonder if you could, huh?
I'm sure you can. If you're getting, it's like a business advisor. Yeah. Yeah. Another real quick thing too is, have you ever used sage or burned sage before?
I've done the oil, so I have, that's what I do. Like I did some over the weekend. I actually rearranged my apartment on Friday night, and then I burned sage for the new moon to kind of clear out or not the sage oil, the essential oil.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. I don't know if burning the actual sage is any different from that, but I mean, you could always do that before and after a client call too, to like kind of clear that energy.
Okay.
I do that a lot of times in my office before I do like a call with you guys, just so I can be in like the right mind space. Is like I'll burn sage in my office, and I like it. Yeah, and we'll do that at the retreat too. Okay, let's move on to Amy. So Amy, you were asking about how to not react when you get triggered from people, and you gave us this lovely kombucha example. Has anything come up for you around that request since you asked it?
Not really. I think I already knew, like, just to, I think it's like when a boundary, like when that happens, when my own context gets triggered, like in this example, I was already feeling insecure about like my perceived lack of engagement, which when I look at it, like there's a solid 4 people at least engaging out of 40. And I was like, well, I suppose for my first group on day 3, like that's pretty good. And so I think when she did that, I was just feeling inadequate about my running of this group. And then I think another part that came up is like when people violate my boundaries, I guess, and I don't know what they are, then that like also triggers me. And so in my context, like not putting down like set things, like I had a pro bono client cancel like 45 minutes before her thing, and then she wanted me to rebook it for her, and I was just like, no, here's the link, like we've already bumped it an hour and now you've gone ahead and like canceled it. So that like made me annoyed, but it was because like I haven't put in those, that contract to say like these are what the rules are pretty much. So I think just like stopping before I answer would be a good, I have like the 60-second meditation. I need to use it more often. So yeah, just pausing and then responding and realizing that it has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
In a way.
All of these answers.
I mean, it does like have stuff to do with me, but also like I'm just triggering that person and then they're just triggering me. And then if we just keep continuing that spiral, it's not going to work out well. So I get to deal with my stuff and realize that really she's just triggered that and she's probably dealing with whatever she's dealing with.
Right. And well, as far as the boundaries things go, that's really good that happened actually. The only way that we are able to truly establish boundaries is when we get burned by somebody else. So otherwise it's really hard to know what your boundaries are in life. So now that you know, like, I don't freaking want someone canceling 45 minutes before a call. So now you know to put that in your contract. But you would not know that ahead of time unless that had happened.
Yep. No, I am realizing trial and error is actually working out really well for me.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great thing. I mean, it sucks in the moment, but then, afterwards you have these beautiful boundaries. You're like, well, I never want that to happen again, so we're going to put measures in place so that does not happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing, too, that I wanted to say is, like, people are going to put their own stuff onto us all the time, and people are going to make comments on social media and say shitty stuff. And again, it is all their own stuff. But we don't want to feed into that. And one of the best things that Katie DePaula has taught me is when someone says something like online or does something, like the best thing to do is just get really curious. And so if someone is like coming off really judgmental or says something really mean, you can be like, just be really neutral and say like, oh, that's interesting. Tell me more about that. Or I'm curious, why do you feel that way? Or like you can bring your coaching into those responses.
Right. It's like a nice way of calling them on their own shit.
Yeah, you take the attention off of you and you put it right back onto them. Because it's about that. When people show up that way, it's about them, right? It's not about you.
Right.
I'm like trying to like mentally prepare for when my book comes out this summer. Like it's got really taboo topics in it and it's going to trigger the shit out of a lot of people. And so I'm like already trying to be ready for when people say like nasty comments, especially about, there's a section there about abortion and you know all the stuff that's going on in the United States right now. And I'm just like, you know what? It might not be perfect every day for myself, but on my strong days, like I do, I really want to like just stay in this neutral place and show up as coach and just get curious. And maybe people can have breakthroughs from their strong reactions by like the way that I show up, but I don't have to take it personally and I don't have to be like, oh my gosh, like what did I do wrong? Or I shouldn't have wrote this book, or I shouldn't have said that. And what are you hearing? What are you hearing for yourself in that, Amy?
Yeah, just to like not take things personally, basically. And also like just to be aware that when you do want to go into the like kickback response, I guess, like when you just want to be like, well, it is what it is. Or like with the kombucha thing, I'm like, well, it's negligible. And that's literally what I was like, yeah, you're right. It does have alcohol, but it's negligible. And like, so there. So instead of like doing that response, which is like just coming from my place of insecurity, that I could have asked a different question instead. Yeah. And not taking it personally. But I probably would have done that if it hadn't triggered it. So when I'm triggered, just to, when that feeling comes up, to be like, oh, what's there? Okay, then deal with that and then answer.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting too, that you noticed like it was, the reason it triggered you is because it was an insecurity for you at the time. Like you were feeling insecure about this new group you created and only 4 people are engaging out of 40. And so that comment was like a mirror, it was like mirror work for you. It was showing you where your own insecurities are showing up in your life. Again, another great coaching request that you could bring to your coach. Kind of like a similar situation of like I was talking about with Kaylina's request, is like when you see your own stories showing up in a client, it's kind of a similar situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a work in progress.
It's always a work in progress. Yeah, definitely. But thanks for being so open to talking about this tonight. Sure, it's something we can all relate to.
If anybody else hasn't joined the group, you can still join the group.
And just remember, anytime you build something new, it takes time for people to engage and open up and trust. And so if you keep showing up consistently, people will also show up with you. So you're doing
the other thing that I was going to mention is that like I did want it all to be perfect. And then I am working like with a coach that I'm like paying. And she's like, you can have like basic things set up, but really people will be paying you to be you. And so all you got to do is show up, even if it's not, perfect. So she's like, there's no such thing. So you just got to do it. And I find with the lives, like if I sit there too long and start being like, okay, what am I going to say? And I have to like say all these things. And I'm like, if I don't like hit this live button now and go on, I'm going to show up like all weird and trying to like be perfect versus just doing it and then like having it come or not. So
I love that.
If that helps anybody, just hit the live button and then you have to figure it out.
Yeah, just go live.
And thanks for doing it, Amy. I actually like it and it's helping me. So I don't care about, but thank you.
Beautiful. Right, does anyone else have anything they want to add before we get into role playing?
No, I just have, I got from my therapist a list of words that if you guys want, I can share them. I think I can post them. It's interesting. She sent me this list of words that they're feeling words and they might be helpful for some of us. There's a list that are saying when your needs are satisfied, and then there's another list of words that you use when your needs are not satisfied.
Okay, I want to hear this.
So I can, I think I can share them and post them on the training website.
That sounds amazing. Hold on, I'm just plugging in. Thank you for sharing that, Colleen, or wanting to share that with us.
You're welcome.
Perfect. Okay. I know everyone is so nervous right now. I can feel it in your energy because you don't know if you're going to be coach or not. And you don't know what the role play is. So I'm going to copy and paste it. And Haley, can you tell us who still has yet to be coach? So we can figure that out first. And then we'll figure out who hasn't been client yet. So this is the scene. Your client has been looking to move to a new city before she begins looking for a new hobby, to make friends, and even to start a relationship. Coach her and reflect the context that may be showing up here and explore their route. So I want whoever's going to be our client today, I want you to present with a lot of stories and context. So that way you can give your coach some good practice today.
So the only person that has not been coached yet is Mary.
Ooh.
Yeah. And the people that have not been client are Sarah and Veronica.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's between Sarah and Veronica. Are you gonna do you want to do rock, paper, scissors? How do you want to decide?
I'll let Sarah go since Mary's my partner coach.
Okay, that works. I like
Probably
that.
kill me later and be like,
Yeah.
It'll be a little more fair.
I have a question about the scenario. So the client has been looking to move to a new city before she begins looking for a new hobby, to make friends, or even to start a relationship. So I'm like, I just want to move into a new city, and like I'm confused how the friends and the hobby come into play.
Okay, let's see. Let me read again. So you could basically say like, oh, you're frozen. Everybody's frozen.